start talking.
Yeah. Hello.
Hello and welcome to the Mary Elizabeth Show, Mary Elizabeth Variety Hour.
Yes, welcome to Mirrth's Business Variety Hour.
Yes, and I'm your announcer. I am
Kaye
Kaye
Lazar.
Lazar.
Kaye
You
Lazar.
got it. Yes,
Yeah.
the announcer.
Yeah.
Now, oh man. Oh, before we go on, I gotta tell you something. We did a show a couple of weeks ago. Hey, stay where you are. I'll move.
Yeah.
I'm the cameraman and everything on here. Sound guy. I do everything. And then I actually have to sweep up the studio. You know how hard it is to get picnic tables like it's go to Sears and get and buy a new one sometimes. But anyway, okay, now are you still there? Yes.
Yeah, I'm still
Okay.
here.
I mean, I know you're still there. I want to know if you're still on the show here. So anyway, um, anyway, we mentioned a guy, Buster Poindexter,
Yeah.
also known as David Johansen.
Yeah.
All right, and we mentioned him, and
Passed
another show.
away a few weeks ago.
Well, that's just it. The day we did that show, it was only like 2 weeks ago. We said, well, I said I haven't heard from David Johansen in a long time. I heard he's not doing too well. Well, he did even worse than that. He's gone. And he was 70, 72 or something. I don't know how old he was, but but he had a good life. So and very entertaining. But people get sick. I think he was a cigarette smoker, and that that puts the kibosh on a lot of things. So
Yeah.
so always have good health. You know, I'm doing some good. I'm doing a lot of good health lately. Listen to this. I'm volunteering at a nursing home to push the people in the wheelchairs in a 5K. How about that? How about that?
Oh, wow.
Now it might, 5K is about three miles or so, a little more than 3 miles, and 3 miles doesn't sound like much, but it's when you're pushing someone in a wheelchair, that might be. But I'm not going to. I don't think they care so much for the residents at this nursing home that they win the contest. Everyone's a winner.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they should give a trophy for the person who pushes the person across the finish line in the fastest amount of time. You know, they actually have. I'm not kidding you. They actually have wheelchairs that have motors on them. I mean, I know you know about those, but they actually have them in the competition. And I said, no, that's like being on steroids. They should be disqualified. I'm in it to win it. I don't care if it's a nursing home. I'm actually going to be pushing hard. Now, actually, to be honest with you, a lot of those people are friends of mine, and old folks, not young people like you and me. And so what happened was, so a week later, I'm going to be in the 10K. I said 5K for the first one, and then a week later, exactly a week later, like 7 days later, that next Saturday, I'm going to be in the 10K, and I'm in the 10K every year. And I tell the speech all the time about around this time I'm in the 10K. And years ago, I said a friend of mine, I was talking to a friend of mine. I was boasting. I was Mr. Big Shot. I said, I said, I was like, I was, one, 20 years younger than I am now.
Yeah.
So I must have been 5 or 6. No, I So anyway, I was 20 years younger, and I said, I think I could beat most men 10 years younger than me in a foot race. And my friend, who never gets off the couch, actually, he said, "Well, why don't you put it to the test? It's going to be a 10K in about a month's time. Why don't you enter it?" I said, "I will." We're drinking and everything, and and so I entered it, and it's much easier to boast about it than it is to. It's much easier to boast about it than it is actually to run it. There's like I always joke I'm one of the top 30,000 runners in Virginia. So I'm going to be in that thing. But like I said, I'm older now, and always afraid I'm going to shoot out my knee because you get older. So a friend of mine told me, "Hey, listen, you're not trying out for the Olympics. Sort of like pushing the wheelchair. She goes, "You're not trying out for the Olympics. It's enough that a guy your age is actually entering the thing. So do enter it, do the best you can, and
Yeah.
it's the longest hour of my year. I usually actually used to take an hour. Now it takes a little longer, maybe an hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half. Depends how I'm feeling that day.
Yeah.
I I said, but at the time it was the longest. I'd say now hour and a half of my year. Which reminds me, when I got my yearly physical, that's the longest 20 seconds of my year. Ah! Eyes bug out of your head. So, when you turn 40, you get the 40-year-old man's physical. Before that, you had it easy, but once you turn 40, you get the 40-year-old man's physical. It's a whole lot different. And I had a really bad time the first time I got the prostate examined, and a woman said, "I don't want to hear any sadness from men like you. We've been probed and poked and everything, women, all our lives, and now you're getting it at 40. So it's about damn time, tit for tat." So anyway, and so what else been going on? Oh, I have like the worst telephone. Uh, this is my telephone. It's all cracked and I haven't turned it in yet, but I got a new phone that I'm turning in for this one. A
Oh,
lot of these places like Verizon and
you have the new phone?
T-Mobile, I have the new one, yeah,
Let me see it.
and it's really good. I mean, now I have a nice box for it and everything.
Okay, cool.
It has all this cool stuff on it,
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
and I don't want to tell everyone my phone number. But, oh, who cares? In fact, you can call me. Well, you can't really see it, but it's a nice thing. It's a nice big thing, and it's a Galaxy S26 or 25, and the old one is an S10. Every year they get better, the phones, and you know that. I wanted all my friends have iPhones, and I'm not in their chat, and they said you could not be in a chat if you don't have an iPhone. It's almost like a club. That's Apple for you. I'm lucky to get what I have, which is Google, and Google has done me better than Apple anyway. Google, of course, um, whenever I have to look up something, I find we do the show on YouTube. I think Google owns that. And another thing about Google, Google is the guys who run Google, uh, Larry, whatever his name is, and Sergey Brin, the guy from Russia. They created Google, and they're billionaires now, and they own all this stuff. And the joke is, how does Google make money if everyone uses it for free? Oh, they find a way,
Yeah.
advertising, getting your information, selling, influence peddling. They figured out a way. In fact, they all do. All those bureaucrats do. So you saw them all at the Trump inauguration. Bezos and Bill Gates and of course Elon, the guys from Google. Let me tell you something about billionaires. Um, right now Elon is in the business. He's slashing all these jobs in the government, and perhaps probably a lot of these people should a lot of this bloat and excess in the government. Perhaps they should. They said you should do it with a scalpel. He showed remember he had that chainsaw. He was
Oh
going to,
yeah.
Well, anyway, a friend of mine works for the government, and I said, "Did you get an email that said from Elon, one of those hello federal worker freeloader dirtbag. I don't know what it said, but it said please list the 5 things you did last week, and if you don't send it back, we're firing you. And if we don't like what you sent, five things." So all these people got it, and I said, "Did you get it?" He goes, "No, I didn't get it. I was actually so low on the totem pole they didn't even notice me." But my bosses got it, And he told me, and he said that I said, and I said, "What'd your bosses do?" He goes, "Well, the bosses made a sent an email right after that to everyone in the department and said, uh, please ignore that stupid email from Elon Musk." And then but then later on he had a meeting with the bosses and he said, "Did you send that email to Elon?" Oh yeah, I had to. I didn't want to get fired. In other words, he said, "We'll take care of you, but I can't take care of myself. I better send that to Elon." Now, Elon found this out about billionaires. They say, are they liberal? Are they conservative? They kind of are liberal in the sense that they have all these kids and all these mistresses, so they're kind of open minded in that way. They're pro abortion because they have to pay for abortions for their girlfriends and stuff all the time. They don't want their wives to find out. They what else? And then they're conservative because they want to lower taxes. They want America first. They want America to have a good economy. They want America to have a good military and law and order, which is good, which is good. But um, but really, let's keep it real here. Billionaires don't really care about any of that stuff. Billionaires just want more money. That's true. That's all they want. That's all they care about. That's one thing they do well is make money. And it's almost like some people are good in spelling bees and some people are good playing the piano. Some people are good at the track meet. They're good at making money. So that's what they do. And they make money. And and you know what happens after you make a lot of money? You retire and then be nice to everyone. No, you want to make more of it. And that means cutting the poor people's jobs and making them pay higher taxes so you don't have to pay taxes and all that stuff, then they do that. So beware of them. There's only one billionaire people seem to like, and that's Warren Buffett. He seems to because I think he's giving all his money away when he dies, and he's in his 90s, so he's gonna he actually won't even leave his kids any money. No, I mean he actually gave them $1 million. He said $1 million is enough for anybody. And they were happy with it. Okay, give the rest to charity. Use it well. One thing good about people who make a lot of money, they usually know how to spend it wisely. They don't just throw it away. That's why I think that's the problem a lot of rich people have with paying taxes is that if they were in charge of paying the money to and getting better use out of the money. The government doesn't really do a great job of it. But you have to remember something about all these government programs and stuff. They don't pay. They're not there to make a profit. The post office is not there to make a profit. It's there to deliver the mail to you. Make sure you get your mail and everything. What else was I gonna say about billionaires? So anyway, always be where there's also talk that uh, um, we're becoming very warlike in the new Trump administration. He wants to start a war with Mexico. That was the last term, not so much. You don't hear it so much this time, but now he wants to start a war with Canada. Wants to make Canada the 51st state. He wants to invade Greenland. He wants to tell NATO to go to hell. I mean, these are, and of course the Russians and the Turks and the who else? The Hungarians and all the countries with North Korea that have dictators. He loves them. So anyway, uh, so um, so what I'm telling people is that you know the people those countries don't necessarily want to be part of America. They like Canada. He said, "Well, why isn't Canada? They'll pay. I think I heard they're going to pay lower taxes. I don't think in other countries lower taxes is a big problem. Canada has better health care than we do. In fact, no country has worse health care than America. I mean, because it can bankrupt you. I know people spend all their money on all their savings on medicine and on operations and stuff. I had to pay several $100s for anesthesia for a small operation I had. So anyway, I mean, I just paid it after a few years. I thought it was a scam. In other countries, and I think their quality of life better. They don't. Their attitudes are better. They don't overeat like we do. We don't have all the fast food and everything. that we do. Though I think it's getting there, though. It's getting there. I think the Chinese actually bought Kentucky Fried Chicken, and now that's their big thing now. And we grow the chickens, and we grow the pork barbecue and stuff, and we get all the pollution from the chickens and pigs, and then they get the meat sent imported to them, exported to them, imported to them, and so you gotta so we're in a really crazy situation right now. So we just gotta keep going. Now you're quite the traveler. I remember you went one year all
Egypt.
okay. Tell us about Egypt.
Egypt was beautiful.
Yeah.
I went back in 2010, like almost 15 years ago.
Okay.
It was a really nice trip. I got to go to the pyramids, and
Hmm.
then I went on some boat rides, and
On the Nile.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the Red Sea and everything.
Were you on a barge? You went to the Red Sea.
Yeah,
All right.
they had like a little cruise ship that we took,
Yeah.
and it
Was
was like
Moses there to
no,
deport it?
but it was a fun trip.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now, I don't know a whole lot about. I've never been to Egypt. Now, and you saw the Sphinx, I'm sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I saw
and
that.
you get to climb up in it. You get to ride it or anything. Get to climb up to the. It must be huge, that thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the pyramids. Can you go into those places? Like I'm sure the pyramids have a door. Can you go into the pyramid?
no,
No, no, no one really knows how the pyramids slave labor, I guess. A
yeah,
lot of that stuff was built. And I think it was before they invented the wheel. If you remember the Ten Commandments, you see how they used the slave labor
no.
then. And I saw a cartoon in the New Yorker where the Pharaoh is saying to his wife, and they're building the pyramids in the background. He goes, "I remember when this was all just lush countryside."
And then a year ago, I went to England.
Dang,
That
there
was
you
a
go.
nice trip.
Yeah, there you go.
Remember you took me to the airport?
Yeah,
Took
it was a
me up.
pleasure trip. Took her to the airport. Want to make sure she got on the plane.
It was a great
Now,
trip.
and you saw Big Ben.
Yeah, I saw Big Ben.
Yeah,
I saw
Tower of London.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was beautiful.
see where Jack the Ripper killed the alleys. Jack the Ripper killed people. you know, I get the idea. London is like I don't know. If you read enough Charles Dickens, it's just this awful place with poverty and newsboys and pickpockets and chimney sweeps.
And I saw a show there too
Yeah,
called Frank's Closet.
Frank's Club.
I know I told you that a billion times, but it's a
It's good.
great show.
Good show. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and I got to meet the actors and everything.
There you go.
I got pictures with them and everything else.
Yeah, I've been the I have a I have a I have relatives in London, and when I go there, I try to avoid them. No, I try. It's such a big city that I'm always afraid I'm going to run into them. Same with my cousins in New York. No, I go to the West End and see shows and stuff. Met a lot of celebrities, just like you. Yeah.
Yeah,
And let's see. I can't really see shows in other countries that don't speak English. America and England or in Ireland are about it. I was in Australia, but I didn't go to any shows there.
I wanted
And
to go to Australia.
yeah, I was in Sydney. Oh, by the way, I got this, and I wore this tie just for today. I got there's a World Cup, not
I
the
like
World
it.
Cup, the Olympics.
Yeah,
I think in two two 2000
yeah, 2000.
was in Australia, Sydney, Australia, and I wasn't there in 2000, but they had all this cut rate merchandise from there at that if you look for it hard enough. And this is really nice. It's soccer balls, but they're all have flags on them. It's supposed to show the all the you see the things and it has
There's a
all there's
Mexican
American flag, the
flag,
Mexican flag, all the flags are
American
here.
flag.
Yeah, I don't see my countries, Ireland and Israel, but they're, I guess, but they were in the Olympics. No, but this is so I got this in Australia. It's a nice tie.
Yeah.
It's it looks like polka dots, but it looks like it's actually soccer balls from
Yeah.
the could be a World Cup, but it's actually and there's the Australian. That's the Australian flag there.
Ireland is my country too because I'm part
You're
Irish.
part Irish, yeah.
I got I got a lot of countries in me.
Yeah,
I got Irish, Scottish, German, French, African,
African.
Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
Portuguese,
Yeah.
English, everything.
You have American Indian.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, you do.
Yes.
How?
Well, my
How? How do you have American Indian?
my great grandfather was
Yeah.
part Indian. Yes.
What tribe?
Nicholas Mattapanai.
Mattapanai.
Even
Oh,
that or
okay, that's local. Yeah, it's part of the Cherokee tribe. Yeah,
yeah, even that or
part of the Cherokee Nation. Yeah,
Blackfoot.
Blackfoot. Yeah,
Yeah.
my dad used to joke that he was part Indian. He was a Jewish Indian, a schmohawk. Indian. I'm not. I not Indian at all. Not even Indian Indian. I'm not, not American. I'm not indigenous. I'm I oh, well, I think I told that story before about 23 and Me, and I found out I was part Scottish.
Me
1%.
too.
Yeah, that's it. But Scottish is not much different from Irish.
Yeah, I looked at the 23andMe about 6 years
Yeah,
ago, and I found out all that stuff.
yeah,
Amazing,
yeah,
amazing stuff.
yeah. And so I've let's see. Let me rattle off all the places I've been to. That was nice. That was really nice. Let me one up you, or two up you, or three, or 100 up you. No, I've been all over America, um all over Europe, Western Europe mostly, but I've been to Eastern Europe, parts of it. I've been to Czech Republic, and I've been to blah, blah, blah. Uh, maybe that's just it. I've been, but all over Western Europe, up and down. I've been to Cuba, been to Australia. I mentioned I've been to Israel, and a lot of these places I only went once because once I saw it, I saw all I wanted. When I go to a place, I always get the first place. At least the first time I went to Europe, uh, and I've been to Mexico and where else? Well, anyway, I when I oh, and Brazil I've been to. I've been to Rio de Janeiro. But when I go to a big city, and I really like going to big cities because I come from a small town. So when I go to a big city, the first place I usually try to go is the art museums. So I've seen, I've been to the Prado in Madrid. I've been all the ones in Paris, like the Louvre and the whatever those ones are. They're all part of the Louvre, the Impressionists. Been to Scandinavia, been to all the art at the Vatican and in Rome. Been to Florence. What else? So I've seen all of that stuff, the Da Vinci stuff, the Michelangelo stuff, um, the surrealist stuff in France and Spain and England, of course, the Tate Gallery. I've been to the British Museum with all the Rosetta Stone and the Elgin marbles. What else? I've seen America. I've been everywhere. Been at every major museum in America. We have a good one in Richmond, the Virginia Museum, and it's free. They have showings there, special showings that you pay like $20 to see or 25 bucks, but it's all for a good cause. In fact, they're getting Frida Kahlo exhibit there soon, so that's
I
going to
like to
be
go see it.
yeah. Let's go see it.
Yeah, let's
I'll
go
be
see it.
there.
Yes.
I'll see it every day.
I can't wait to go with you to see
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So and then so okay, so I've been to so let's see, what did I say? Okay, so I saw at the time the most expensive painting ever. I think there's bigger paintings since then, but it was Irises by Vincent van Gogh, and it was bought. It was in the Los Angeles Museum, the Getty Museum. Getty, of course, was the oil man that was one time the richest man in the world. in the 70s, and he was kind of a rotten guy from what he had. His son was kidnapped. No, his grandson was kidnapped, and he actually bargained down the kidnappers, and it was only after they cut off a piece of the grandson's ear and sent it to him. You know, so I guess I better pay this, but he didn't want to pay the full price for it, for the kid, for the grandkid, and he had a payphone in his house. So if you were at his house, if if you want to make a phone call, he goes, "Oh, there's a payphone over there." So anyway, I think he was dead at the time, but the museum paid $100 million for this painting, Irises, and I think it was overpriced because there are better paintings than that, even better Van Gogh paintings than this. But I got the idea they, for a billionaire, 100 million kids is chicken feed, as Ralph Cramner would say. It's chicken feed, and I think they wanted to overpay this so they could tell everyone they had the most expensive painting in the world. I know guys that will real darn fools that will overpay on stuff like a watch, for example. Is that my watch costs $25? Well, my watch costs $1,000. Yeah, but my $25 watch is better than your $1,000 watch. They saw you coming. Yeah, but I have $1,000 watch. What type of watch do you have? A $25 watch?
Yeah.
It makes no sense. You know,
Yeah.
no quality. The Timex watches are reasonably priced compared to the other ones. Yeah, the Boulevard and the Seiko. So anyway, so I think they overpaid for this art. So anyway, there's the best art. I'll tell you the best art museum. Speaking of Van Gogh, the best art museum in the world is the Van Gogh Museum in Amsterdam. There's about, I think, 200 or 300 paintings. It's all Van Gogh. And what's great about it is that each one of those paintings is probably worth $100 million.
Yeah.
There's nothing more expensive than Van Gogh paintings. So when you go to these when you go to this place, they could easily close the museum and just sit on a billions of dollars, but they don't. They have them all for people to pay. I don't know how
I
much
like
it
the
was.
museums in
One-
New York
Oh well, yeah. There's
too.
yeah, Museum of Modern Art
I like
and
that
the
one.
and the Metropolitan Art and the the Whitney Museum and a lot of great museums in there. Well, the bigger the city, usually the better the museums. Um, there's one museum I haven't been to yet, and I because it's kind of far away. It's the one. There's one in Arkansas that's in Bentonville, I think, where Walmart is, because the Walmart family bought a lot of art to bring tourism to that town in Arkansas. But Walton family used to be the richest family in America because of Walmart. And the other one is I haven't been to Cooperstown, New York, to see the Baseball Hall of Fame, but that's in the cards. Old baseballs, old bats. But there was a time I really wanted to go there, but my parents wouldn't take me. I don't know why I'm still complaining about it, because I should go tomorrow to Cooperstown. Now, I'll tell you another thing I like to do when I travel is I have a friend who doesn't buy any souvenirs when he travels. He takes pictures, but he doesn't. And actually, when I started becoming a photographer, I found out I didn't have to buy souvenirs anymore. Souvenirs are all made in China, and the only really good souvenirs you could buy is clothes for me.
I
You
like
know,
buying t-shirts.
T-shirts. Well, T-shirts. Can't tell you people where all I got was this T-shirt when I went.
And
My
coffee
parents
mugs.
had coffee mugs, but I don't. I have a friend. He goes to all the fanciest restaurants in a city, and that's his culture. That's how he. I mean, he learns the culture of a place. A lot of these places have very uh, specific cuisine, like New Orleans, of course, or San Francisco has the sourdough bread and the rice roni, and Los Angeles has the Perrier and the quiche and the avocado and
Yeah.
But but that's a good, that's memorable eating food in a particular city. I tell you what I like to do, and it's really funny. I had this conversation with somebody just about a week ago. When I go to a big city that has tall buildings, I try to go to the tallest building and take a look on the whole skyline.
Yeah.
Now, New York, there's quite a few places like that. But before I get to New York, I'll tell you, I was at the Space Needle in Seattle. I was in the Eiffel Tower in Paris. I was in the John Hancock Building in Boston. I was in the what's the one in what, Los Angeles does not have really tall buildings. I was in Toronto. I was at the CN Tower, which is sort of like the Space Needle. Only it's taller than almost all of those places. Now, New York, of course, I was at the World Trade Center, which was the tallest, and then I was of course, the Empire State Building is still there. Now they have the Freedom Tower, I think, where the World Trade Center is. It's still called, I think, the World Trade Center, and that's pretty tall. Donald Trump built uh, the after 9/11, and sadly the World Trade Center came down, and before he ran for president and won the first time, he was planning to build the tallest building in the world in New York. And the idea being was, I think the New York is the greatest city in the world, and I think New York should have the tallest building. But it doesn't. In fact, the tallest buildings are kind of hard to get to. They're in Dubai, and they're in Singapore, and they're in China, and they're very. I mean, you have to make a special trip to go there. And I think there's so many oligarchs, or they have the same problem in America with all the billionaires I was telling you about, tech billionaires. They have all these oligarchs, they call them, in Russia, and they all banned the oil sheiks, and I don't know what Singapore. I'm sure has quite a few. Anyway, they built the tallest buildings in the world are there, and they're in the middle of the desert. And I guess I don't know how rich the people are in those places, but the billionaires that built those things, or the governments that built those things, are quite obviously well off. The only one I know of, there's one of the Mission Impossible movies where they filmed the one in Dubai, which I think was the tallest, and it's done with great special effects. Some of it, they said that Tom Cruise was actually on there on with suction cups walking up that tallest building. I don't think he was doing that. There's a movie. We're going to talk about movies later, but there's a movie about the World Trade Center. This is before, I mean, sadly before it went down, but actually before it was even open. They built these two towers, and I think in the early 1970s, this French circus performer called Philippe Petit. You ever heard of him? He um, he uh, he he broke into the place with a bunch of people. There was all like a plan, like a heist, and they shot with a pick or something. I don't know how they did it, but they got a cable across the two towers, and then that morning he got up. He was a tightrope walker, and he walked across now. All these people down in the battery were looking at. There's a guy on the that's walking the tightrope. Now it's important to note that the cops did not try to get him down. Why, you're going to go up there and you're going to wait for him to get to the side, or you'll fall or anything.
Yeah.
And of course, as soon as he got off of there, they arrested him. But now he's considered like this folk hero, and he's part of the history of sadly of the World Trade Center of the 9/11 and everything. But anyway, and there's a documentary about it, and the guy is still alive. He's a French performer and everything. They made an American movie, and this is what I want to tell you about this American movie. It's called The Wire. Uh, I think it's called The Wire, or it's called The Walk. I think it's called The Walk, and it's directed by Robert Zemeckis, who made Forrest Gump and all these other good movies, Who Framed Roger Rabbit and stuff. And well, anyway, what happened was they made this movie, big screen movie with Philip Petit, played by Joseph Gordon Levitt, who used to be on Third Rock from the Sun. You ever seen this movie?
I haven't.
Okay, well, let me tell you something. This movie was a bomb. And I'll tell you why. It was not that it was a bad movie. It was actually a very good movie. But the problem was it was like in 3D and Panavision and Technicolor and big screen, and people would go to this movie, and when they showed the scene of the guy walking, the special effects were so good. You have to remember at this point there's no more World Trade Center, so they had to make this all in Hollywood or on computers and everything, green screen, everything. People were actually throwing up watching this movie because they were getting airsick. It actually, and let me tell you something. I didn't see it in the theater because it was gone before. It only played like a week or two, and I didn't. I missed my chance to see it. I saw it on like a big screen television, like you would see in a bar, which I have at home, and I was getting wheezy watching.
What's the movie called again?
It's called The Walk.
The Walk. Oh, okay.
I keep comparing it with The Wire because there was a Wire across, but The Wire is actually that show
I might
about
have to look it
Baltimore.
up. I might have to look it
Ben Kingsley is in it. He plays I guess a French mentor who's also a trapeze circus performer. But the main character is Joseph Gordon Levitt, the
up. Yeah.
little boy from Third Rock from the Sun, is now grown up, and he played the part. And actually, the movie is very good, except for the last half hour where he's walking. But you're, I mean, that's that's too good actually. But check that movie out. We're going to talk about movies shortly. But can I come back for the second half?
Yes, we're gonna take a little break now, folks, and God bless.